The overall goal of marketing is to clearly describe who you plan to sell your products or services to, what makes them desirable, how you're going to price things, the advantage of your location, and how and when you'll promote your business. Anything to drum up support and customers. Here we go. Be sure to read all of these pages here before beginning to give you a general idea of what's going on. Okay, just don't jump into it and try to figure it out. Okay, read, and then things will make a little more sense. Okay, you have a worksheet here. Actually, it's a thought sheet, so you can keep an idea of what's going on. I do have some websites explaining 2 of the sections, but these are all the sections that you need to complete, okay, in marketing. Okay, so let's get from the beginning and try to explain things a little bit better. Hopefully, it'll help. Okay, the first thing you want to explain is your target market. You want to answer these questions right here. If your target market is comprised of people, you want to answer these questions right here. If your target market is comprised of businesses, you're selling your product or services to the business itself, you want to answer these questions here. For this one, you want to make sure that you're finding out exactly who your target market is, and be specific. If I'm selling hot dogs, my target market is people ages 16 to 50, because I found out that those are the main people that eat hot dogs. That's an example. Okay. Does your target market need a specific income? Well, if you're selling high-priced watches, yeah, they're going to probably need a bit of money. Okay. If not, if you're just selling hot dogs, no, they can. They don't. It doesn't matter how much money they make. Hot dogs are only a couple dollars. Okay. So if you're selling a high-price item, of course they're going to need to earn, $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 a year to be able to afford your $800 item. Okay. Does it matter if they're male or female for your particular product? If you're just targeting females, you're just targeting males. The geography, does it matter where they're living? Maybe you're opening up a store or a center that's going to serve not only your city, but the outlining city. So they can be living, anywhere, it says here, between Modesto and Bakersfield, California, because you're going to be delivering up and down that corridor. Okay. And these here are optional. Is there anything of these items that are required of your customer, or that you're hoping? Maybe you're selling crutches, so obviously they need to have a certain medical condition to even worry about buying your product. Okay. And so go ahead and answer those questions, put in the paragraph form, and that's done with that section. Okay, here are a couple samples. The next is product position. Now here, how am I going to position my product in the marketplace? What makes my product or service unique? Why would I go to and buy it from you other than Joe Smith down the street? Okay, here's some things that might describe for you. You have more reliability. Your certain product or service is more affordable. It's ease of use. Just kind of explain. Okay. Remember your competitive analysis table from the last chapter. Use the information you identified there. Okay. Or maybe what you can do is, once you realize something, maybe you can go back and update your competitive analysis for something that, that is kind of unique for me, and I want to put that in my competitive analysis table instead of this other thing. Okay. Now, if you've already written things down that describes your product or service, there goes that bell. Just go ahead and mention that. Just repeat it. That's fine. Okay? But you need to be able to describe what you're selling in such a clear and unambiguous way that I, as a customer or a client, can see the value. Again, what separates you from your competitors? Any special features or benefits? Okay? If there's nothing unique, then why go to you? Just go down to the neighborhood and there's no need for your business. Okay? You might want to go back to your problem solving back in that first section, your business overview, that where you labeled what problem the customers have and your solution to it. So you may want to incorporate that into there. That's a good idea. Okay? And go ahead and put it into a paragraph form. Okay? Let's move on. Price. Now, you price something at $500 for your product or service. Why? What's the rationale for it? Well, it's surfboards. They're pretty expensive, but it's unique. Again, you can use, well, how'd you get your price? Well, it's unique. It has a certain value, quality. It's a certain fiberglass that is not readily available, so that makes it more expensive. How did you derive at your prices? Well, maybe you used your target market survey, or maybe you got some information from that other section, break-even analysis. I need this much. Okay. How do your competitors price their product or service? Well, you can use a competitive analysis. You need to determine, okay, I sell it mine for 500, my competitors sell it for 550 or even 450. My price is competitive with everyone else. Okay? It's not so far off that they would immediately go to someone else. Okay? Can your customers afford your product or service? Well, maybe you answered that back here under your income. Okay? Yes, they can afford it because my average customer is making, I mentioned, $35,000 a year, so they can afford the $500 item. Or it's a hot dog. It's a $2 hot dog. Anybody can afford a $2 hot dog. It's whether they choose to or not. Something like that. Okay, go ahead and describe how you determine the pricing. Are they based on one more of the items here? And then put it into a paragraph form. You're just basically justifying your price. And don't get personal with that. Don't go back and say, you've got to be kidding. Of course I need to charge more. No, you've got to explain why to your customer. They're just going to leave. Okay, now you need to describe your place. I want you to state exactly, give me a word picture of what your place looks like. I should be able to read it and visualize what your office looks like, what your store looks like. As I walk in, give me a visual. I have over things, I have my racks of clothes over here on the left, my cash registers in the back, something like that. I'm a home-based business, and I'm using the room in the back of the house. Okay, I have to get through the hallway, and go down the front, through the front door, go down the hallway to get to the office. Kind of give me that word picture. Or maybe there's a shed in the backyard. We go through the gate, and there I can meet with customers. Okay? Any special features? Okay, again, each of these sections, you've got to read this. Just don't rely on going to the thought sheet or going through this video presentation. Although it's good, don't rely on it specifically. You've got to read this to try to understand what you are required to put in each section of your business plan. Okay, give me a paragraph form and move on. Promotion. Now here's where it could get a little confusing, so pay attention here. Okay, again, read this. Now the promotion and the implementation plan, they kind of work together. Here's how it works. The promotion section, you're going to explain what you're using to promote your product or service. It's very specific. Newspaper ad, yellow pages, a radio ad, a website. I'm going to be calling people. I'm going to be having a grand opening event, something, okay? And you're going to name how much it's going to cost for each item. You have to do some research now, but give a price for every specific thing, okay? Describe each one, why you're going to use them, and their estimated cost. Those 3 things for each item that you pick. Okay? And let's be honest, if you're picking 3, write all 3 down and answer those 3 things for each of those 3 items. Okay? Now, if the promotion section is what and the cost of each way you're going to try to get new customers, each way you're going to promote your product or service, then the implementation plan section is when and how you're going to do that. Well, a lot of it's obvious. Okay, if you're going to use Yellow Pages ad, well, it's going to come out, I'm going to start using it, implement it when the next book comes out. Obviously, you're going to have to wait for that. Or if you're using a newspaper ad, I'm going to do that starting 1 week before I open to drum up support for the business early on. I'm going to have a grand opening event the 3rd month after my business starts. Okay, no prices here. You're mentioning when and how you're going to implement that. Okay, each item here. But the cost I do need you to put down is your overall. How much you're going to do overall. What you're simply going to do is add up all these items. Okay, each of these items, this is $800. Yellow Pages ads, $1,500. Mailers, flyers is going to cost me $300. You're going to add that up, and I didn't do the math, but let's say your implementation plan is going to cost you $2,200 to do all that stuff in the first year. Make note, this is just the first year, what you're going to do the entire first year of your business. Okay? And then put that in a paragraph form. Okay, one last way of putting that. Remember, this is the specific items in your promotion with the individual prices. This is when, and if necessary, how you're going to do each of those promotion items, and the overall cost. One number, all of these items added up. Does that help? Does that make sense? Okay, when you're finished with that, be sure to go to the checklist. Don't skip over that. That kind of helps you out. The marketing checklist here. Make sure you've done everything in here. I've given a few tips that might help you. Okay. Once that's finished, you've got a great general overview of how you're going to try to get new customers. Okay. Have a